I have a treat for you today and a treat for me. I'm going to be making Wagyu Flatiron Steak with Cabernet Shallots. That's right, I have a Wagyu flat iron steak here. As you can see, this thing is beautiful. The marbling is gorgeous. It's about 1.33 pounds, and we're gonna be cooking this up out on the Weber Kettle. Now, this was sent to me today by Wodagyu, which is a family-owned ranch in Texas. All their beef is pasture-raised, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and as you can see in this piece of meat, it is just gorgeous. The marbling in here is outstanding. I'll put a link to Wodagyu's website in the description below, and I'm also going to put a coupon code. It's going to be CWR for Cooking with Rye, so CWR. So if you go to their website and you decide to order anything, you get 20% off your order. And I got to tell you, this stuff is just beautiful. I cannot wait to start cooking this and to eat it. So we're just going to do some simple seasoning on this because I really want the flavor of the beef to come through. We're going to do some salt and cracked black pepper, and that's it. Start with some nice kosher salt here. Good coating of it. Beef like this loves salt. I don't think I mentioned all their beef is 21-day dry aged. Turn it over. A little bit of pepper on this side. Pat that down. All right, this Wagyu flat iron is going to sit for about 5 minutes to absorb that salt while the Weber kettle gets up to temp, and I'll see you out there. All right, so I have the Weber Kettle set up with both my briquette baskets pretty full with briquettes. And the reason I'm doing that is because the flat iron steak's a little bit long, and doing it over the vortex, I would have to fill that thing so full to get edge-to-edge coverage that the heat would just be super intense. This way I have a little bit better control of the heat. You'll see I also have my cast iron pan in there. That's been preheating. We're gonna be making our Cabernet Shallots in that pan as the steak is finishing and resting. So let's go ahead and get this Wagyu flat iron on. That is a beauty over those coals. See how we're doing? We're probably gonna do 2 turns here. You have a thicker end of the flat iron and a thinner end. This end will be more done. I'm not worrying anything about the kettle temp today. It's just going to be hot. The internal temperature I'm going for on this flat iron at the thickest part is going to be about 130 degrees. Right around 128 is when I will probably start thinking about pulling it, depending on how it looks. All right, we're going to do our first turn here. We're going to do a second flip here. I'm going to get a quick temperature now with my Thermapen. Still have a ways to go. And that's why we'll be finishing it indirect on the kettle. You want to get good color on the outside, but you don't want to burn this steak. Okay, our final turn. The smell of this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move this indirect. And we're going to make our sauce really quick and let the steak finish. We're basically going to trade places. We're going to move our steak over here, and we're going to move our cast iron pan over the fire. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to get a tablespoon of butter in this hot pan. If your pan gets too hot, you can move it off the direct heat. I'm going to add 2 medium shallots which have been sliced. Let these saute for a minute. Slide this off the heat for a minute next to our steak. You can just see how much heat the cast iron retains. To this, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of Cabernet. Going to let this heat up and reduce there for a second. Going to add a pinch of salt, some cracked black pepper. Now we're going to slide this back over direct heat for a moment. I'm going to add another tablespoon of butter. You can really see the color of this develop on those shallots. All right, we're going to slide this indirect again. Get our Cabernet Shallots back over the heat for just a minute here. And we're going to get this off the heat and let our Wagyu flat iron finish indirect. So I want to get a quick temperature on the steak here, just to give me an idea about how long it's going to take indirect. Okay, we're at 105 degrees, so we only have about 23 degrees to go to hit that 128 decision point. So I'm going to let it go on here indirect for about 7 minutes, and I'm going to check it. All right, it's been just about 7 minutes. Let's give it a check. I gave the steak a quick turn just a couple minutes ago. Give it a quick check with the thermopin right here. It's showing 122, so I'm going to say about 2 more minutes. All right, it's been 2 minutes. Let's give this a check. The sun is just starting to hit this piece of meat here, and it looks beautiful. 128 right there. Check. Okay, we are good. We are at 128. All right, I'm going to get this off, get it inside, let it rest for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to have a taste. All right, here is our Wagyu Flatiron Steak. It's just gorgeous on the outside, but really, it's what's inside for Wagyu that is the treat. Now, I've had Wagyu steak before, but I've never cooked one. This is my first time cooking Wagyu, so I do want to thank Wodagyu for sending me this. I'm really looking forward to tasting this. I really enjoyed cooking it. Got a few things we're going to put on it, but first I want to cut into it. Let's get a look. I'm going to go straight in the center here. Oh, this looks beautiful. Okay, I'm not done with this yet. I want to cut a couple slices, and then we're going to put a few things with it, some potatoes and those Cabernet Shallots. So let me cut a few slices here. First thing I want to do is I want to put some of these Cabernet Shallots on here, because these are going to be a wonderful topping to this. And when you've got great steak, I'm going to put some potatoes here. We have some rosemary potatoes that my wife fried up for me. A lot of good aromatics coming off of these. So there we go. This is a meal for 2, unless you're a little selfish, but no, I think I will share this. But right now, it's time to taste. I cheated. I took a taste a minute ago as soon as I cut it into bite-sized pieces. OMG. Of course, I'm gonna taste it on camera too, but it's really good. It's really, really good. Perfect, rare, medium rare on this. Now, if you like your meat more cooked than this, personally, I would never take a cut of meat like this over 135. I think you're gonna lose a lot of the flavor in here, a lot of that fat that's inside, which is the flavor in a Wagyu cut of beef. So for me, that 128 to 130, where you're on that rare, medium rare side, is just perfect. Here we go for another taste. I'm not kidding when I say this is just like beef butter melting in your mouth when you put this in. It is so tender. Holy moly. Simple seasonings, salt and pepper. We have our Cabernet Shallots we haven't tasted yet. That's going to be great on top, but the beef alone here is the star of the show. There's no doubt about that. Probably could have even gotten away without any salt and pepper on this, but salt and pepper does just enhance that natural flavor, especially in something like Wagyu. Oh. This is really good. Now I have some of these beautiful Cabernet Shallots here, those shallots that just took on the flavor of the Cabernet wine. Let's see how they go with this Flatiron. There's a nice little hit of that milder onion flavor in these, partly because we sauteed them in that butter and added the Cabernet to really sort of spread the oniony flavor out. You're not just getting a bite of onion. They're not caramelized, they're not cooked down that far, so you do have just a tiny little crunch when you bite into them, and it's perfect with this beef. Okay, and I don't want to make the potatoes feel bad, so let's just take a taste of the potato too. It's a really good potato. Those are those tiny little red potatoes that we sliced in half. My wife sauteed them up with some butter, some rosemary, salt and pepper. Simple things, but with a cut of meat like this, you don't need a lot of extras. Just a couple little things with it to help enhance the enjoyment. And let me tell you, both those Cabernet Shallots and the potatoes are a perfect match for this. I'm going back in for some straight beef here. I've cooked a lot of steaks. this one is way up there. In fact, I did another Flatiron Steak on video last November, December. It was terrific. That was a USDA choice cut of Flatiron, and it was terrific. It just doesn't compare. There's nothing wrong with that steak, but if you're looking for something special, something that you want to stand out, maybe you have a special dinner coming up for you and your wife, you and your girlfriend, you and your husband, anybody, this is just a tremendous cut of meat. Flatiron Steak is one of my favorites. So I want to thank Wodagyu again for sending me this Flatiron Steak. If you're interested and want to check out their website, I'll put the link below as I said. Coupon code is CWR. If you decide to order something from them, gets you 20% off your order. This is not inexpensive meat, but let me tell you, it is worth every penny.